Okay, fellas. You remember these? I finally have the spinners on them now. You see that? So let me tie up another one and show you how I put the spinner on. Number 2 alt hook. You can make these as small as number 8 hooks. One of my swivels here. This is part 2 in this Thunder Spin series. There we go. Don't need to make it touching turns on the way down, but on the way back up, touching turns as much as possible. Take the old glasses off because the old eyes are not as good as they used to be. Then super glue. So for those of you who don't know, this is going to be Product and Project Thursdays, where I will feature a product that I make or a project that I'm working on that includes the boat that I'm building and things like that. And so this fly uses a lot of super glue, my friends. Remember Superfly Jimmy Snuka? I mean, that dude was awesome. Superfly Jimmy Snuka. Okay, use a small rattle on the bottom. Oh, come on now. Don't want it to move a lot. Get it as centered as you can. In line and centered as you can. And then fairly well touching turns on the way back up. The super glue comes off easily on the bodkin. You just let it dry and then take your knife and just scrape it off, or a razor blade and scrape it off. It'll come off. And so now we have that on there. Wool. Like so. Just take your time. Separate them out like that. All the way down to the end there. And I have the end here just ahead of the bend of where the shaft begins to bend into the bend of the hook. Try to leave about 1/8 of an inch, 1/16 of an inch or something at the tip for your, because that's where you're going to tie in all your materials, and you want to leave that fairly open. We wrap forward, touching turns with the wool. It's going to take several wraps. Chenille would be much faster, but yarn is much cheaper. Secure that, come behind it, and then in front of it. 1, 2, 3. That's all you need. 3 colors today. Okay, white, green, red. Why? Because we're doing a more traditional bait fish pattern. We're going to use the thick ends, not the thin glasses. See how that's thick and fluffy? Thick and fluffy. And we're going to trim that off a good bit, about like that. So we're more or less spinning deer hair there. And that's the gill. That mimics the bleeding gills or whatever. That's what we want. Crystal flash simulates scales. Right here, about like that. Sort of simulates the gills. Take off the glasses. Tie in there. Can you see that? I hope my hands are not in the way. I try not to get my hands in the way, but sometimes you can't help it. That's why I need again a second camera. If I had a camera over on this side looking in, I could just switch to that camera and you'd see it, or whatever. So there's that guy. I'll make that all the way back to about the hook there. Come on now. So a little bit longer. You need to keep this stuff in a bag because bugs will get in it because it's skin, so it smells like meat and stuff, and you need to keep it in a plastic bag, kind of like that. You want the hairs to be shorter, about the same length, come all the way back to about the length of the blade there, because if it comes all around here like that, that twisting, it'll get bound up in the twisting. The hairs will get twisted all up into the spinner. So you want to carefully measure and don't go beyond the end of the, a little bit about like that. Don't go beyond the end of the swivel here. That sets up fine. You see how much more girth? That's some girth. Now it'll slick on back in the water, but that is some girth. Sparsely tied fly, but it looks thick. Next is our, what do you call this stuff? bucktail, olive bucktail. You can use green. This is a more traditional sort of color. Probably use some of these fibers here, some of the medium fibers here. Right, as you can see, very similar. About the same number of fibers. I think this is either a different deer or a different region because the fibers are thicker, I guess, or it may have been just, sometimes the deer have a hard winter or something and the hairs come out different, and just depending on the nutrition that they're had. Okay, see, now you have olive, and the next one, which is probably my favorite, you can either go in a different direction. I can either put these on here, which is the black tinsel, but I'm going to go all natural essentially on this one, other than the crystal flash. Oh yeah, here we go. This guy, Peacock Herl. See that? See how iridescent that Peacock Herl is? See, can you see that on that? Yeah. See that there? And that'll top it off. We get about 3 or 4 strands there. Make them about the same length as the ones we have here. That iridescence is important because the light reflects and refracts off of that high sheening material. So you just a little bit better job of not crowding the eye of the hook this time. Half hitch. 1, 2, 3. No matter what I do, I end up crowding the eye of the hook. Any of you guys have some tips, just let me know. And now more super glue. We got to secure all these fibers in. Ooh, big blob. Okay, come on now. And see, it'll want to draft back into the main fibers there, and it'll secure it very well. Bam. 6mm eyes. Drop it in. And the rattle there makes a nice flat surface to glue them on. So, okay, we got some special forceps. I could probably use these in my needle nose pliers on the boat too. Stainless steel Tooltron. I got this from Jan's Netcraft. Got some number 4 swivel thingies. Can you see that? And that goes in there just like that. Make sure all the hairs and fibers are free. And then just twist it on around, just like it were on a keychain. You see that? Put it back there. Put it back there. Okay. Now I'm running number 4 brass. These guys, the Colorado blades. I think if I could do it again, I probably would have gotten like a number 2 or something. But these are number 4s, and it's the same thing. You are going to, it might be easier to do it this way here. In fact, it might be easier to just put these on before you even assemble it and glue it to the, okay, so once again there, you should be able to see that at least. Oh. These are just cheap stamped gold here. I always put the curve, the outward curve part in here. I don't know if it really makes a difference in this particular application, but see, much easier there. And then skadoosh. There we go, baby. Spinner. And there you go. That's my little thunder spin lure that I'm seeing shad burst on the surface a lot, and this should really catch some shad below the dam, or stripers or largemouth bass. Because it's a 2/0 hook, it'd be more of a largemouth bass or striped bass sort of deal. But as you can see, That, my friends, is a legitimate thing. Now the hairs there are coming back just a touch bit too far, but not out of reason. And so this is part 2 in the Thunder Spin series, and the next part will be me on the river doing a quick demonstration video and see if we can't catch some fish with them. If you like these, either contact me or check the website for pricing on these. But tune in to next Thursday. The Thursday product and project Thursdays is what I'm going to try to do. I know somebody was wanting to some of these already. So goes the ongoing quest to build a catfish lure. And this might be it, fellas. What do you think? See ya.